Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences and their expertise, and we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Hello dear viewer, dear listener, my name is Mompoloki Lerumo, the host of this great podcast, Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. Welcome once again. And I have Didintle Moreki, who's going to talk to us about all things skincare and talk about her business. But I'll let her introduce herself. But before I do that, just do me one small favor. If you haven't done so already, please, dear viewer, subscribe to our channel. We need your support. Didintle, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mogobe.
How are you doing today?
I'm excited to be here. I cannot even contain it. I'm very much excited to be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just share a little bit of your background with the viewer. Where you come from, your academic credentials and so on.
Yeah. So my name's Didintle Moreki, and I'm the founder of Organic Natural Skincare. But besides Organic Natural Skincare, I'm a young lady who grew up most of the time and years between Kenya and Lobatse. I would actually travel every morning to go to Lobatse for school and come back. And that is why I started my early primary all to secondary. I'm also an early bloomer, as Mami would say. At 16 years old, I was already doing my first year at university, starting to a BSc in accounting and finance. That's where I did my accounting degree for 4.5 years, of which after graduating, I was profoundly blessed to find a job actually on my last year of uni. So I left Gaborone to Maung, where I spent a very good 2.5 years at, with an organization called Love Botswana Outreach Mission. It's actually one of the biggest NGOs that are doing very great work in Botswana. I served there as both an accountant for the NGO within those 2 years. And that is why I should admit I've learned to flap my wings to fly, because I was firstly out of my mother's nest in the whole village that I didn't know. And secondly, I got to find my voice, which was mostly on empowering women and linking into skincare. Gladly, I came back to Gaborone, and that is when I said, you know what, I really and definitely have to show up. So that is much of who I am.
Could you tell us about the practical work you're doing before you moved into skincare?
Yeah, so part of me being an accountant, I'm really a math head. So I really, really love calculating, solving problems, and finding why it has to be like that. So whilst I was an accountant, actually coming to Love Botswana Outreach Mission, I had volunteered at the NGO, and most of my volunteering was working with youth and peer educating youth. And upon peer educating youth, I realized that I can actually get to peer educate youth, and mostly girls, about going after their dreams and going after their work. So I volunteered in an NGO, another NGO called Boseja, which is Botswana Sisters for Junior Empowerment. They usually work with junior schools across Gaborone and across Botswana, and they're currently doing a pet drive whereby people can donate pets to those young ladies. So I worked with Boseja, and most of Boseja work was actually with empowering young women. So after Boseja, I then came to Botswana within those 2 years of me actually being an accountant there. So yeah, that was much about it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about organic naturals, we're going to talk about cosmetic industry, skincare, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Let's start with organic. Why organic care? That's the name of your business?
Yeah, Organic Natural Skincare is the name of this current range, and that's the name of our business. And why actually organic? I had suffered a very bad skincare problem from being 12 years old up till actually. And
is it acne?
It was very bad acne. It was very, very bad acne. It started mild, then it started being worse. So after trying much of what we would call chemically formulated products and not finding a solution, I found a solution actually in organic products. And believe me, I found a solution in Morula oil.
Morula oil.
Morula oil. And upon finding a solution in Morula oil, I said,
Just through trial and error?
through trial and error, through my grandmother and my mother's insights. So it's more of through indigenous knowledge that has been passed on from generations. So that is when I said, actually, there's something in this thing that is pure, that is organic, that has not yet been added with anything that is lab-based. And hence why the organicness of that skin, or the skincare actually came about. So
It's
yeah.
organics, naturals. Is it the same thing? When something's organic, when it's natural, is it the same?
Yes, actually, it is the same.
Because I noticed you use both.
I used both. I selfishly wanted to capture both. I
Yeah.
wanted to keep the mind both.
Yes.
So it honestly defined that it should be organic, meaning that it should really grow on its own, but on its own being that it should also naturally grow on its own. So I locked the two words selfishly.
Okay.
Selfishly. Yeah.
Let me just understand this. You have acne all over the face and you just grab some marula, you apply it, and that's it?
No, I had acne all over my face. I suffered with a lot of confidence because remember that I said that I went to uni at an early age. So meaning that I was honestly a guinea pig to what everybody said I could try out at hostels. And I was tired because I had tried out every single thing. I remember that one day I actually stood at an aisle of a local supermarket here and I said, but none of these are actually made in Botswana, you know? And that was the frustrating thing that, not made in Botswana, not made in Botswana. And it was a long aisle of not made in Botswana. And I was like, I am tired of this not made in Botswana. So I tried most of the products actually within that period from 2012 right through 2016, 2017. I went through different dermatologist tests. I was often within a program of pills. And whenever I would relapse, or whenever I would not take them, my skin would go back and it would come back worse. So a semester holiday, I went home and my mother said, oh yeah, I found some Morula oil for you. And thankfully for me, God really orchestrates things. My grandmother was visiting us at that time. So my grandmother inquisitively asked, what are you giving her? And my mother said, oh, Morula oil. And I tried out Morula oil. I came back to...
How do you get marula oil out of marula?
I should have brought some morula. Actually, there's the morula. And
The white stuff?
The nut. Exactly. That is the oil. It
In the middle?
In the middle. It goes through a whole lot of breaking and processing. And that oil, that nut, that white thing is what actually carries out the oil. So, yeah, that is what. And way back, according to my grandmother, they would boil it and they would separate the water and the oil, and that is how they would get the oil. That is what they would do actually to moisturize their skin. So that is when she said, this has been what has been working for us. You should actually try it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how did it move to become a skincare business? How did that happen?
I used to formulate in my hostel room, literally with my school allowance. Funny story, I would make exfoliating jars. And one time, actually at my early days, I poured water inside of it. My first buyers were my school lecturers. God bless those two ladies. And they bought it even though it was already bad. There was already bacteria in it. So I later found out and was like, okay, fine, let me just take out the water. But I started formulating in my dormitory room at uni. And I would make scrubs and I'd pour a little bit of the oil and I'd sell them because I'd seen it work for me. And a lot of people who knew me had seen how my skin was starting to change. So I thought this can actually be a side business. And that is how it started.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then let's talk about the Captor, just to use your terminology.
Yeah.
What is the Captor in organic, the organic Captor?
So what I meant when I said the organic Captor was that the organicness within the products and why actually skincare has to be organic. Because from being someone who has went through years of using products that were actually one, mostly infused with chemicals that were eating off my cell membrane and my skin membrane, and two, was mostly always on pills. I honestly thought that there should be a solution that actually has the organicness, the naturalness at the center of it. And that's the organic Captor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of skin care, are there any other products beyond the morula-based products that you are involved in?
Yes, there are.
Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Your range.
Yeah, so our skincare range actually includes of 9 products so far.
9.
9 of them. So these includes 4 bar soaps, 2 facial toners, 2 facial masks, and a serum. So the backbone of organic natural skincare is actually Moringa, Morula, and Moana. So we actually take all of these 3 core oils and we play with them in all 9 of our products. So all of them actually have a little bit of what we call the African culture in them. So that African culture is that Morula, the Moringa, and the Moana. Yeah.
Why women? I believe that you're targeting women. Don't men have acne?
They do have acne, but women are always very conscious of their skin. And there are prominent buyers of products that actually, I would say, solve that skin problem. But the key thing about why women, it's more of a double-edged sword. Though we are selling to women and we're empowering women, the people who supply us with the raw materials are also women. So the story was, by the way, as you buy this, you're empowering someone else behind the scenes. So that is why women. And women always really understand the story more than men. So that's why women.
Isn't it time for you to teach the men and to educate the market?
We've already started. It's
Tell
very
me about
exciting. We've already started actually with educating men. There's an ongoing campaign in Organic Naturals called #LoveYourSkin. So the
hashtag Love Your Skin.
Yeah,
Okay.
so #LoveYourSkin is that we're bringing in men also to the picture and saying, by the way, that thing that you saw on your face is actually acne. Don't pop it. This is how you can take care of it. And mostly we're also teaching them to build a simple routine that fits for them, because they wouldn't want to mask, they wouldn't want to do all the 9 years that we women do. So that's why.
I think the biggest challenge for men is shaving when we have those bumps.
Exactly.
Are any of your products?
Yes, our activated charcoal and Moringa.
Let's see what you have. Yeah.
So what we have here are all these 4 bar soaps that I spoke about, the neem and green tea for sensitive
Which one
skin.
is good for men? As a man,
The
I'm
activated
representing
charcoal.
you.
You're doing a good job.
Yeah.
The activated charcoal and Moringa.
Let me see.
So this very soap here actually is one that is actually good for men, and that after shaving, the activated charcoal and Moringa. And we usually
what goes
tell
into
them.
this?
So what goes into that is activated charcoal, Moringa, and Moringa oil, green tea as well, because usually after shaving your skin is mostly and prone sensitive. So for you to cool it down, you do actually need a product that would assist and alleviate the pain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, speaking about organic natural skin in particular, you mentioned that you get some of your supplies being women. Can you just explain the value chain and the role of women throughout?
Yeah. Women play a very huge role, honestly, within the supply chain of organic natural skincare. First of all, they are what we call our harvesters and our collectors.
What are they harvesting exactly?
So,
Yeah, you're getting there.
I was getting there. So, Morula actually grows mostly in the southern part of Botswana and in the northern part of Botswana. So these women actually assist us to...
Mostly in the south or mostly in the north?
Mostly in the north, actually, than
Yes.
in the south, which is mostly geographically based on how the geographics of the northern parts are, actually. So what they do is that, and it's usually seasonal, while it grows mostly on the south here at January, February, that side is actually the other way around. Towards the end of the year, that's when the Morula is mostly that side. So what they do is that they actually go out there to harvest and collect that Morula for us. And then we work with 2 companies called DLG Naturals, which plays a very huge role into the pressing of that oil, as well as the separating of the oil for us. And then there is also Moringa technology, which is now supplying us with the Moringa. But both of these women actually work for these organizations and make a part of these organizations by harvesting, by collecting, and also by processing those products for us to get the final Morula oil. So yeah.
And the Moringa, where is the Moringa found?
The Moringa is found mostly in the southern part as well as the northern part too. And now we're starting to farm it as well, because we've seen that there's actually a lot that can be done with Moringa. Yeah.
It's largely medicinal, is it?
It's largely medicinal, very rich in vitamin C and very rich in collagen.
And how do you, put it in your products? How? Can you explain the process?
Yeah, so the Moringa leaves, actually, there are two ways of doing it. The Moringa leaves, we dry them out. And after we dry them out, we grind them to be very fine powder. As you can see, this product, it looks green. 85% of it is actually Moringa powder. So we grind it actually into
says
that
Moringa
softness.
clay mask.
Exactly.
This is what you put on when you sleep, right?
No, that's what you put on while you relax and read a good book.
Okay.
Or listen to the Mogobe nuggets of wisdom.
Oh, I see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So we grind them, and then we take that powder, we put it in the bar soaps, we put it in the masks. And then from there on, the Moringa has seeds. Those very light seeds, we take them and they're also pressed. And as they're pressed, we get Moringa oil. And that Moringa oil is within that bar soap.
What wonders does this one do for you?
So what the Moringa clay mask does for you is that for people with sensitive skin, it nourishes your skin with vitamin C and gives you the collagen feel and the collagen supplements that you need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just interrupt our discussion just to talk about your story.
Yeah.
How did you transition from being trial and error, sort of bumbling around in your dormitory, to being a fully fledged businesswoman that you are?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was in 2019 actually when I had a full picture of my whole accounting career, so much that I had already enrolled to study the Chartered Financial with the Chartered Financial Institute, to study for my CFA, to become a financial analyst. That was honestly my dream. And I sat for the exam, and I chose Nairobi to sit for the exam. So I was in Nairobi for 2 months. And part of being in Nairobi for 2 months, I thought that, oh my God, I'm here for such a long time. I cannot be studying. I should definitely do something else. And I literally searched out, and there was something called the Ngong Institute. It's more like the brigade here. So they had
in Kenya.
In Kenya. So they had the Ngong Institute brigade. So they had a full course of skincare formulation. You actually had to take 2 years in it. But I managed, typical African way, managed to con them out into allowing me to actually study for those 2 months there.
So you convinced them?
I really, really convinced them. And upon me convincing them, I just got my certificate in skincare formulation, honestly. And that is when I learned how to mix up, how to make the bar soaps, how to make the face masks, and I had to learn all the different kind of skin types. So when I came home very hungry, because Kenyans...
This is, when did you come home?
I came home 2020 beginning.
Just before COVID?
No, sorry, 2019 beginning, which means I was there in 2018.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting my years wrong. Yeah. So Kenyans are very hungry, and having spent so much time with them, I came back very hungry. And upon coming back very hungry, I said, I'm still going to do my job, and I'm still going to establish this. And that is where, honestly, now it started being a fully fledged business from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you just start it on your own, or how did it work?
Yeah. So upon starting it, I had, apparently there are friends and family fools that would always invest in your business. So I had family and friends that I said, I have this idea, I have this little much. Can you please assist me to put it up? Thank God for those friends and family. They actually said, you know what, we're willing to borrow you some, we're still going to want it back. And yeah, that is how it was.
So I trust you paid them back now.
I have.
Okay.
I have.
Skincare products I think that's one of the USPs for this, that you're targeting certain skin types for Africans.
Yeah.
What's the importance of Africans having to do these sort of things for themselves as opposed to constantly buying foreign products and
Yeah.
for other cultures and so on?
Firstly, they definitely understand their own problem and what the problem is, which is a very, very key factor in solving what you're currently experiencing. So that is one. And secondly, on top of that, you're actually designing the product for yourself based on your climate and what is actually happening within your environment, which is very, very key. So right now, what we have actually found out is using a product that is mostly from different kind of weather climates, such as the US and the UK, they don't know how hot Botswana can be. They don't even understand that literally it was cold and cloudy this morning and the climate exactly changed, or even how the melanin in your skin reacts to other products. So it is very, very key that we as Africans actually rise up to produce products that actually solve our problems and not rely mostly on other products that get to be imported. Yeah.
Did you have to do a lot of research in terms of actual academic research to find out really what's happening in this space?
Yes, I did, honestly, and I also had to lean more into people who are already in that space. I know that we had a professor, Professor Dennis, who we actually had to lean more on. We had a pharmacist, Chris, whom we had to lean more on. And right now, we're also now leaning into professional bodies to assist us into actually building solutions that are exactly for that problem. Yeah.
What role does the University of YouTube and the University of Google play in all of this?
The University of Google and the University of YouTube, I'd say it significantly plays a role. And explaining it would be that most of the myths that exist actually exist up on not just on social media, but also on YouTube and on Google. So what we have actually found out to lean more in is from the dermatological advice who are actually within those YouTube and those Google. So it's more of go to the trusted voice than go to just any voice.
All right.
Yeah.
You and I met in the context of Angel Network Botswana.
We did.
Yeah. Would you mind telling the viewer the connection?
Yeah. Should I also bring in the first pitching?
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
So I met you in November 2019, actually over at BIH, and you were called with a selection of different angels, and we had to pitch. And upon pitching, I think there was literally just a few months of us operating. And though it was a gruesome and very, very painful experience, it was very, very important that we also went through it.
Why was it gruesome and painful? I don't recall that.
The truth hurts. The truth hurts, right?
Yeah.
So, and secondly, this was the very first time I was actually pitching to real-time investors. I was not pitching in a competition. I was pitching in people who have worked hard for their money, who didn't want to just invest anywhere, right? So it was gruesome in the fact that, the remarks, the advice that I got, it was like, wake up, child, wake up, right? So, and then I was still based in Mong by that time. So on the bus going back, I was like, you need to wake up. You need to wake up. You need to work on the shape. You need to work on the quality assurances. It was painful, but it also woke me up to what I need to do to put organic naturals to where it is. Now, upon the pitching and after the pitching, there was a mentorship that I was very much fortunate to be part of. And the three gentlemen, Ananth Ram, Aditya Ram, and Fred Manauze, really took me up to be part of my mentors that we have actually run through and still are right now. And if it wasn't, I still say this every single time, if it wasn't for November 2019, I don't think we would be where we would be right now. If it wasn't for us meeting the A and B, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
Wow.
Because from that onwards, we had to change our model into knowing that one, we're definitely international. Two, we're definitely being sustainable. Because your question, I don't know if you remember this, your question was, Didi, how are you guys going to make sure that you're sustainable with all these indigenous plants that you're using? That was your question. So I had to go back and ask how are we going to be sustainable? And that is how we actually got to build meaningful partnerships to make sure that we are sustainable in the long run.
Okay. I remember Guru and I took you along. You want to share about that one?
Exactly. Then you and Mr. Guri came along and you took us along to prepare for the second pitching of the A and B. And what excited me more was that I had more of a prerequisite course of running through. And part of what you and Mr. Guru did was really, really prepare us for now real-time pitching in a pandemic.
Wow.
Which was very, very key,
because
right?
it had to be done online and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And part of it, honestly, was, do you know, I'm sure you know this, your 10 tips of how to pitch.
Yeah.
Right? Your 10 tips of how to pitch really played a huge role in preparing us. But part of your 10 tips of how to pitch, what is really key was tell the investor what they're going to get in return, what they're going to get their money for, and tell them what you're going to use their money for, which is very, very key.
I'm glad that I've been of some help.
Yeah.
People don't know this, but I got those tips from reading many, many hours, from trial and error in my own business, and also from watching, you know, tons and tons of Shark Tank and Dragon's Den and Lion's Den. You know, so I'm glad
benefiting of the hours.
Yeah. Listen, let's talk about sustainable model. Perhaps you could talk about the 1 to 3 year period, and also tell us how it's been, the trajectory from November 2019 to now.
Yeah. So the trajectory from November 2019 to now has honestly been on sustainability. Our dream is for organic naturals to actually exist 100 years and 100 even more years. The same way Johnson & Johnson's have and all these big brands have. And the honest way to make sure that we get to exist and to survive these years is to firstly build meaningful partnerships. This has been the first one. Meaningful partnerships of our raw materials, really both of the value chain, from both the supply as well as the distribution of the product, which is one. And then the second thing has been honestly communicating your value proposition to your customers, which is very, very important and very, very key to make sure that you stand out with your competitive advantage. And
avoiding the valley of death. What do you know about the valley of death, and what are you doing to avoid it?
Oh my word, oh my word. Believe it or not, I learned about the valley of death in your Mogobe podcast. I think it was the gentleman from Alpha Direct who actually shared more. Who actually shared more about the valley of death. It must have been his first podcast, because in the second one he was talking about scalability. And I didn't know about the valley of death, but we were experiencing the valley of death. So what happens actually within the valley of death is you're thinking that you're making a profit, but you're actually making a loss. You are making sales, but the money just goes through your hand and you just don't know what's going on, right? There's no accountability, even though you think there is accountability going on. So after literally listening to him, I said, hey, hold on, I think I'm actually experiencing that. So I literally had to download it. Thank you for really making the YouTube videos downloadable, by the way. I had to download it, and I would listen to it, and I would listen to it, and I would listen to it. And the other thing that he said, which was very, very key, was making sure that the days that you get paid at, and the days that you pay your suppliers, the days that you get paid at the day that you pay your suppliers are actually longer than the days that you get paid at, to make sure that you still have cash at hand that is very cash at king. So I literally said, guys, look, we need to talk to our suppliers. We're asking for more days of which we can pay them.
Move from 30 days to 60 days.
60 days. And that's what he said, right? That's what both of you said at that time.
Yeah, even 90 days if you can get away with it.
Exactly. And I had to sit down with our distributors and say, look, I get it, but can you at least try to accelerate your payment terms with us as well? So getting through the valley of death is actually mostly upon communicating with these two parties, because this is where you're made and this is where you can die as well.
Let's talk products. Just shamelessly take us through each one. What is this and what can it do for us?
So we have here the neem and green tea bar soap.
Neem.
Neem.
Does the name mean something?
Yeah, neem is actually a plant that is very much known within the Asian community, but also is known here. Actually grows very much in Soroe. Neem is a medicinal plant as well, for mostly dry skin, eczema, and sensitive skin.
And this retails for?
And that retails for $52.95.
Okay.
And then here we have the Tumeric
Before
and
you
Carrot.
go there, how did you get the Botswana Pride, your destination thing on it?
BITC is a very good friend of ours. As I said, strategic partnerships, right? But we actually had to
explain for those who don't know about BITC.
So Botswana Investment Trade Center is one of the parastatals actually that is here in Gaborone, CBD actually, that really works into promoting Botswana products, but also Botswana services to more balance out the importation bill that is currently going, but to also empower these businesses to be able to export their products and take them outside.
Okay.
So wearing the Botswana Pride mark actually enables you a great deal to show Botswana that this is a local product that is made in Botswana, to hashtag buy Botswana, to hashtag empower the local community. So we actually applied for it immediately when we started going retail. And you actually get a certificate to hold that allows you to hold the product.
Okay.
So we happily wear it and we proudly wear it, honestly speaking.
Obviously, there's some obligations tied with that.
There are some obligations
Which
tied
include
with
what?
it.
Quality assurance?
Not necessarily a quality assurance, but I keep on using this word a lot, but sustainability assurance as well. This is one. Two, you are right, actually, quality assurance of the product, what type of product it is, what category it falls in, how long it has been, where will your products be distributed, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've covered neem. Next.
And then here we have the Tumeric and Carrot one. This is mostly for pigmentation. Post your acne, then have to fight your
Turmeric
pigmentation.
you can also eat, isn't it?
Turmeric you can also eat.
But you can't eat your soap.
Please don't eat it. No, you cannot eat the soap.
Yeah.
So that includes a whole lot of vitamin A packs, the turmeric, papaya enzymes, as well as morula and carrots.
Okay.
Too.
Where can we find the products at the moment?
All health alternative stores nationally, all Pulse Pharmacy stores nationally, online with the Panaseho online store that we recently got in, and I'll share more about it.
Yes, I'm an investor in that.
I know that. And that is our Rooibos and Papaya Bar Soap. That also is for acne-prone skin and normal skin. It definitely knows how to fight hormonal acne
that
as
you're
well.
using things that are edible, rooibos and papaya.
That is why it's organic.
Papaya is
and
purple,
natural.
right?
Papaya is purple. And the papaya enzymes are very, very much good for your skin.
This is mainly facial or the whole body?
This is mainly facial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And retails how much?
It also retails $52.95.
All these?
All of those. And then here we have our Moana and Morula Serum. It is a very light intensive moisturizer that really includes Moana oil, Morula oil, vitamin C, as well as vitamin E.
Okay.
And the whole idea is just to fully moisturize your skin while getting that organic glow, as we call it.
Okay.
And then here we have the two toners. Our toners are not alcohol based, so they're actually essential oil based. So what you're holding there is a lemon and tea tree toner, a mixture of waters as well as essential oils. The whole idea was not to let it sting, but to actually nourish your skin. And now we have our Wild Rose Toner. The Wild Rose Toner has a base of rose water inside, which is a very, very good factor in moisturizing your skin and can also be used as a makeup remover.
Okay.
And then lastly, there we have the Moringa Clay Mask. We call this your self-care pack. You actually get to mask it, apply it, activate it with water or honey, apply it up on your skin, and then just get to chill.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this we spoke about.
And then that we spoke about. Exactly.
There are 9 products here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which one of this did you have, like, shall I say, an epiphany, like an aha moment when you came up with the idea?
It was definitely the Rooibos and Papaya Bar Soap.
Why?
The Rooibos and Papaya Bar Soap,
This one?
Yeah. As I actually had 2 aha moments. The first aha moment was when I literally started seeing my acne ceasing. It was actually reducing. And then my teenage brother as well, who was a teenager by that time, I also saw the literal physical change in his face. And I said, I wasn't dreaming. They actually work. And even now, as we get testimonials, I'm like, thank God I wasn't dreaming. So yeah, the Rebels and Papaya Bar soap was definitely my aha moment.
Okay, you've heard of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, and there's a push by government and by everybody to get these products out there. What are you doing? How are you positioning yourself to take advantage of that?
Currently, to really take advantage of it, we're getting all these products certified. Because though we do have...
What does that mean?
Yeah, I was actually going to explain. Though we do have the yes from the Botswana Medical Regulatory Authorities, also known as BOMRA, to sell the products locally, it doesn't stand internationally to sell the products. So for us to actually play within the international stage, we definitely need to show up with our big guns like all the other guys are showing up with our big guns. And how do we show up with our big guns? By internationally testing our products against the highest and the stringent of standards, the FDA standards, to make sure that these products are
Food and Drug Administration in America.
Exactly, right? To make sure that actually these products are very much accepted while tested against those products. And that is the first thing that we're currently doing. And the second thing we're currently doing right now on ground through the assistance of BITC as well as BIH, we're currently vetting our distributors who will actually allow us to trade within these countries. Right now we are looking for distributors within Zambia, while we're also looking for distributors in South Africa. Yeah. And
when are we having the rollout? How soon can we expect to find these in Nairobi and in Lagos and so on?
So right now, within this year, our financial year actually runs from March to February. Our main goal for this year is Zambia, Lusaka most definitely. So the rollout has already actually started out. We have been DHLing some and more, but we're now looking for a distributor. So the conversations are already undergoing right now. We believe that October, November, we'll be saying now available in Lusaka. And then the South African market, we're definitely looking out for it once we get our results, which should be next year. Yeah.
There are definitely myths in the entrepreneurial business that you had to debunk. I mean, what you saw before, perhaps even pre-November 2019 and post-November 2019. What are these myths that you have had to debunk?
Firstly, they lied when they say that we own our time. We really don't own our time.
As we as an entrepreneur?
As we as an entrepreneurs, we're often told that...
Who lied to you?
You know, remember, there's this myth that will go that, oh no, you know, you'll be stuck within your 8 to 5. Once you're an entrepreneur, you own your time. There's no 8 to 5. I cannot even explain it.
There's no 8 to 5. There's 6 to 6.
Exactly,
non-stop.
Right? It's actually non-stop. That's actually the first myth that they said, that I really had to learn, that you don't own your time. You, as Ananth would say, you work 8 days a week, 25 hours a day. He always says that, and honestly, that is it. That is honestly it. And the second thing is that you rest when you're dead, which is actually a lie. You actually have to rest very much for you to be very much active. And the third thing was, be a jack of all trades. You need a team sufficiently to be able to operate. Yes, you can be a jack of all trades, but you're soon going to be a jack of fatigue, a jack of burnout as well. Yeah.
So in terms of your enterprise, how is the staffing situation? How many employees?
So before we got hit by COVID, we were a team of 7. 4 that were part-time, were mostly our sales ladies. And then we had 3 that were full-time, the administrator as well as the production assistant and the marketing. Then I was the 4th one. So we're currently a team of 7, unfortunately. So we still have our 4 that are part-time, 3 that are part-time and 4 now that are full-time. Yeah, so that's how we're currently running right now.
Is it heading to a point where you may have to maybe get people to work on shifts when the demand grows?
Yes. Yes, that is very, very true. And we're actually starting to implement that now to be able to allow people to work on shifts. Mostly that now we're working towards the Zambian consignment. So that is actually already starting.
And how have Botswana really embraced these products?
Firstly, they are happy that there's actually a product that is made in Botswana for that second time. And that has been my dream, honestly, first and foremost. Secondly, there's a lot of educating that really we need to do and that we're really implementing to go out. But I would say that once you get an order and a reorder, you definitely know that, okay, fine, we're doing something good. And that's what has been happening. So I believe that we're doing something good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you not linking up with other manufacturers of cosmetics? There's a group called Camdol or some few others.
Right now, we are grouping up with a formulator in South Africa. So now the whole idea of grouping up with a formulator in South Africa is to actually get to vet the future of other products that we want to bring in and have to see that above our expertise, what can they offer? And yeah.
Okay, that sounds exciting. You talk of rookie pain points and mistakes. Have you covered those already?
Did we?
No,
we didn't.
What are those?
Oh gosh, there's been very much pain points and rookie mistakes that I did on my early years. I know that I'm still at the early years of being an entrepreneur, but at the early months of being an entrepreneur, one which was, if I knew you that you were Mr. Mogobe and that you could talk well, I'd say, oh my God, Mr. Mogobe, you can talk well. Please come to Organic Natural Skincare. And I didn't really vet things such as your skills. I didn't even vet things such as how do you work with other people besides me?
Emotional intelligence.
Exactly. I really didn't vet that. So I had to really learn it the hard way. And I had to relearn the lessons. So I said, life is actually throwing this to you because you're not learning this. So when I woke up to the song, I was like, oh my word. You keep on getting people because you think they're good, but you're not actually thinking for your business, which is really, really key. And the second thing is separate your friends from your business. This is this is really key. Your business is your sweat.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Exactly. You really don't want your friends to come in and mix it up for you. So do not even come to mix that up. And secondly, lean method is the way. You can actually leanly start up to reduce your costs, to operate thin.
Explain how you operate thin, the lean method. I like that.
Yeah, so the lean method of operation, honestly, is mostly on prioritizing what you need first and leaving the luxuries last. And prioritizing what you need first could be such as, if you know that right now you don't necessarily need to rent out and you could operate from home, please start doing that. If you know that right now you could actually get someone on part-time instead of full-time, please start doing that. If you know that right now you can actually start getting these raw materials from South Africa instead of buying them at a higher price, please start doing that. But mostly do what needs to be done, which is most priority, and leave what we call business luxuries at the end. You don't need to drive that car right now while your business still needs this. So a lean method and being a lean startup is very key. Yeah.
And also, I think you find funders love that.
Exactly, exactly, because now you are very much lightweight. You're not bringing up a lot into
excess baggage.
The plate. Exactly.
The importance of creating a support system. I asked you earlier about whether you are involved in any kind of associations with other manufacturers.
Yeah.
What sort of support systems do you have?
Right now, we are, I'd say we have built a lot to honestly allow us to stand. I often very much refer to A and B as a support system because it is honestly a support system. That's the first one that I'll have to put out too. The second thing is having mentors and honestly perceiving life at a sheer of optimism. is very, very important while you're creating that support system
A
for
sheer?
yourselves. A sheer of optimism. Looking at it like, yes, it might be bad now, but I believe that a better day is coming. I believe that the sunlight is coming. So that's what I mean when I say that a sheer of optimism.
It's like a positive mental attitude.
Exactly, and that's what is honestly going to make you sane. And then the other one is that the Natural Products Association Botswana. This is a recently new association.
Yeah, okay.
But because right now actually things are getting hard in terms of freely harvesting, there are very new new regulations that are actually put out. Belonging to certain organizations that can actually go out and advocate for you is very important, because now it's a cluster of you against that regulatory body instead of you coming up on your own. I've also found home and to be able to stand honestly with Botswana Innovation Hub, with BITC as I've mentioned so far, because we recently got our fair trade certificate, meaning that we can continentally trade fairly, and this allows us to actually enter into markets such as Zambia.
Wow.
If we were on our own, we couldn't have done that. But because we're able to stand within the shoulders of BITC and they've also seen us as their own, we could stand. So having such a community is important. Often, entrepreneurs run away from these people because they think that they want to steal my idea, give an example to A and B, or BITC.
Which is just crazy.
I know, like honestly speaking, right? Or going out to BITC as, no, it's just a government organization. But the truth is, you need those people. Finding a community of these to rest on is very important.
What about Leah? Do they have a role?
Oh yes, and right now, how could I forget them? And right now we're actually operating from Leah. Leah has a very important role. So much that when you knocked on our door, they open and say,
what is the arrangement there?
So we have joined an incubation program with Leah that we're actually manufacturing from their shelf spaces for a period of 2 years. But within those 2 years, we should be able to grow to afford our own space without a subsidized rent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to run until 2024 or something?
It's going to run until, 2024.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is your time to talk about the crystal ball, as it were, in terms of where you see organic naturals going in the next, let's say, 10, 15, 20 years.
Oh my word, I'm actually smiling and being excited. Firstly, I see it being not just a continental product, but also one that has actually taken over the market within the American as well as the European market.
Wow.
That is where I see it as. I definitely see it as...
So far as the dark skin is concerned, or you have products for all skins?
We're definitely going to now cater for all skins. The whole idea is to cater for the market that we're in.
Yes.
That is honestly the truth of it. Secondly, to be able to now farm and process these in-house. That is definitely what the dream is. And to now branch out to not just having skincare, but to also having different products that are related to organic and naturals, and using the 3 main ingredients that I spoke about.
Morula, Moringa, and
Moana.
Moana, yeah.
Definitely having partnered with brands such as Clicks and Discam, because they have a very huge footprint across Africa.
As a distribution channel.
As a distribution channel, yeah.
Okay.
And without a doubt, having been FDA approved to allow us to actually have a presence in America and the UK
FDA,
standards.
okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of those companies, in creating a roadmap for a future, have you already gotten into discussions with them?
Yeah. We started our conversations with Clicks actually beginning of this year. That is when we got the insights that we actually need to test according to the SABs and the FDA standards. So that is how we got into it. And then from there on, we believe that this very paperwork that we're working tirelessly around will allow us to talk to other distributors.
So does Organic Naturals become a multi-billion-dollar organization in this period?
Sorry, come again?
Is it intended to become a multi-billion pillar organization?
It is very much intended to become a multi-billion pillar organization.
Wow, that's really
and
nice.
being market leaders, honestly, within the cosmetic industry in Botswana.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the imposter syndrome? You say there is a syndrome called imposters. What is that?
Yeah, the imposter syndrome is a disease that really hits us mostly as young entrepreneurs, whereby you actually feel as if you're something that you're not. So I'll give you a typical example. When you get such good news, such as you're being invited to Mogobe, and then you get a call from a supplier asking you to actually pay because you are late in your payments. And you're like, oh my God, I'm going to Mogobe Nuggets and I'm going to paint this picture while I actually have all these problems. So you would feel as if you're being an imposter in that form, that you're actually not showing out your real self. But I got to learn that it's the yin and the yang. Like there is white and black for a particular reason, and they coexist for a particular reason. And fighting the imposter syndrome, I read actually that imposter syndrome usually hits people who are actually doing something meaningful. So I got to learn that you might feel as if you're an imposter for that time, but the truth is you're actually doing something meaningful, and it's just not going the way you think it would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's a very good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Resilience is very important. Were there times when you ever felt like giving up, and how did you overcome that? How did you develop your resilience muscle?
There are a lot of times where I really wanted to quit, or where I would want to quit. But the most question I ask myself is, if not me, then who? If not you, then who?
If not now, when?
Exactly, right? Those types of questions. And there are also people that I sincerely look up to and say, they have done it. I have heard your story, Mr. Mogobe.
Wait. On the Nuggets, maybe.
The Nuggets, as well as earlier when you and Mr. Gui were taking us for the mentorship.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, Didi, it is surely not by any kind of, he's first of his generation. So if not you, then who? Listening to such things, listening to such stories that are actually real, listening to podcasts, and deciding that if not you, then who, have really built my resilience muscle.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know whether the young man told you that you get a chance to ask me a question.
That is why I put the resilience as the last part, because I can get to ask you those questions, Mr.
Oh,
Mogobe.
okay.
Upon hearing your story on resilience and how you came about, I can't help but ask myself, what is it that actually kept you going? And what is it that still keeps you going to this day for us to see Mogobe Incorporated as a very large portfolio and profile of businesses?
Some of it, I'll tell you a little secret. When you've succeeded, you have momentum. So momentum keeps you going, even when you feel like giving up. So I think John Maxwell calls it the big mo. But the other things that you read in my story are true. You know, I'm sitting on the shoulders of giants, in the sense that, for instance, I'm 4th generation Seventh-day Adventist.
Yeah.
You know, my great-grandfather was an Adventist, was the first people to build the SDA church in Kenya.
Yeah.
And then my grandfather was a pastor in this SDA church. My mother was very, very active in the church, was a church treasurer, and I'm 4th generation. So that kind of faith in the Seventh-day Adventist community has sustained and helped me through very, very tough times. In addition to that, I had business mentors. I'm sure you've heard me mention Mr. Muni, you've heard me mention Ramahang, you've heard me mention Mr. Jamali. There are others who I don't mention, the late Mazidi and so on. So there are a lot of business leaders that I've interacted with to a limited extent. So I make sure that every time I interact with these business leaders, I optimize. I'm like, you know, I'm a sponge. I just suck information, ask hundreds of questions, and I try to learn as much as I can. So through a combination of all these factors and the belief that this too shall pass, when a difficulty comes, this too shall pass. The Bible
Wow.
also always says it came to pass.
Yeah.
It never says it came to stay or it came to boggle you down.
Without a doubt.
And it came to pass. So I believe whatever challenges are there have come to pass.
Wow.
So I hope
Thank
I've
you very
answered the
much.
question.
You did, and I've learned something as well.
Yeah,
Be a
yeah.
sponge.
Okay.
Absorb as much.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mogobe.
Thank you, thank you.
Alright.
That camera there,
Yes.
it's for you to look at that young entrepreneur. Might be thinking, did it? Maybe I can did it, as people say. I can do it as well. But
Yeah.
just share something inspirational, something uplifting.
The Botswana that we want is the Botswana that we can build. It is entirely up to us. I know that you can do it, without a doubt.
Okay.
Yeah.
It remains for me to thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you
You're a
very
very
much, Mr.
busy
Mogobe.
woman.
Thank you very much.
You have a lot to do. And let me encourage these people. Where can they find these products again?
Health alternative stores, Pulse Pharmacy stores, Bonatoro online, and if you're in Maung, Health Heart as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you also give them your contacts in case they
Yes.
want to converse with you?
Definitely, 77878171. But you could also reach out to us at Organic Natural Skincare, both on Facebook and on Instagram, and you can book your free skin assessment with us. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mogobe.